Okay, so today I'm going to be doing my August TBR, talking all the books that I plan to read in the month of August. But first, if you have not already, please do hit the subscribe button below. It really does help my channel, and hit the notification bell, ding, so that you can be notified each and every time I do upload a video. I am incredibly late getting my August TBR video done, but that's okay because we're here now. So, let's get right on into it, shall we? I plan to read 13 books in the month of August, and that's not going to be any easy task. A lot of these books are going to help me with my SAS list. For those of you who don't know what a SAS list is, that's totally fine. It is an acronym that stands for Serious About Series, and this year I have a SAS list of 22 series that I was hoping to either start, continue on with, or finish. And so every month, especially in the second half of the year, I'm trying to do everything I can to wrap up as many series as I possibly can. So do be mindful of that. But a lot of the books that are helping me to achieve goals on my SAS list are cozy mysteries, and I wanted to mix things up this month. So you are also going to see other types of genres featuring in this TBR. So let us begin, shall we? As we count down to all 13 books that I plan to read in the month of August. Alright, so the first book that I plan to read in the month of August is this book, which is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Now, this is a YA mystery book, and I am incredibly intrigued to see how things are going to go with this book. For those of you who don't know, I go into all of my books blind. I prefer not to know the premise, and just based on the title and the cover of this book, I am incredibly intrigued, and it's been a while since I've read a standard mystery, so we will see how we go. The second book that I plan to read in the month of August has actually been changed. I did have an Emily Henry book originally on my TBR, but then a last-minute decision occurred, and you'll hear more about that in my reading vlog coming up a little later on, but I have switched that book out, and I'll probably read Emily Henry a little later on in the year, but instead I'm now going to turn my attention to this book, which is called The Housemates, and it is by Ian Rob Wright. This is an adult horror book, and I'm incredibly intrigued by it. While I do like going in blind, I did read the premise of this book and it just sounds incredibly amazing. Have you ever seen that show Big Brother? Imagine Big Brother being turned into a horror, psychological thriller, that kind of a deal. And that's pretty much what you have with this book. So I am incredibly excited to get into this one. Can't wait to begin. Hello and welcome. If you have just recently arrived, we have now arrived at Cozy Mystery Station. That's right, because the next several books I'm going to show you are cozy mysteries, and these ones are going to assist me with my SAS list. The first up and third book that I plan to read in the month of August is this book, which is called Restaurant Weeks Are Murder by Libby Klein. Now, this is book number 3 in the Poppy McAllister series, and it is an adult cozy mystery. So, I've had an interesting journey with the first 2 books in this series. The first one I struggled with, but the second one was so good. Oh my gosh, chef's kiss. Mwah. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how we go with Restaurant Weeks Are Murder. Next up is a book that you're probably wondering, oh, Mr. Francy, how very random that you're reading book 2, you haven't even read book 1. Well, I did. I read book 1 in this series last month, but because of everything that went on last month, I didn't do any reading vlogs, so you'll hear about book 1 when I do my monthly wrap, but I loved it so much. So, let's talk about the book I'm reading in August. It is book number 2 in a series, and it is called Death of a Country Fried Redneck by Lee Hollis. This is book number 2 in the Haley Powell mystery series. I read book number 1 last month and I absolutely loved it. Spoiler for my monthly wrap coming up soon. I loved it so much. I felt like that book was written for me. It was such a perfect cozy. I cannot wait to continue on with the series. This series is not on my SAS list, but I had to keep going because book 1 was just, oh my gosh, so good. Okay, now let's talk buddy reads. So, the month of August 2022 is going to see buddy reads being done in a very different way to usual. Usually what happens with my buddy reads is that they take place on my Discord server and you have the entire month to read them. But this month, we all decided to mix things up and make things a little bit more scheduled. So while I do still have 2 buddy reads that are going ahead this month in August, we are going to read the first one within the first 2 weeks and the second one within the last 2 weeks. Therefore, the book that we plan to read between the dates of the 1st and the 14th of August is this book, which is Cheddar of Dead by Karina Moss. I really don't know a lot about this book because I like to go in blind, as I said, but it definitely looks like it's a culinary a cozy because it's about cheese, and the little non-spoilery comments that I have received so far is that people who have read this have felt very hungry and like they just want to eat a whole lot of cheese, so that makes me incredibly excited. Here's something you may not know. My mother's side of the family is Dutch, and there is a Dutch word that describes me to a T. It is called a kaskop. Now, a kaskop, literally translated, translates into English as being cheese head. What it means, metaphorically speaking, is that you are someone who absolutely loves cheese, and I do. So this has me so incredibly intrigued. I cannot wait to get into it, and I want to give a big shout out to Michelle. Thank you so very much for recommending this book. I cannot wait to begin. The second buddy read that we're going to be doing will take place between the dates of the 15th and the 31st of August. And that book is this book, Scene of the Climb by Kate Dyer Seeley. So we're reading this between the 15th and the 31st of August. Again, this is an adult cozy mystery, and this book was recommended by Nancy. So thank you, Nancy. Very, very, very much appreciative of that. Yeah, this seems like it'll be a very different cozy to any other I've read so far. The cover kind of depicts someone doing rock climbing, which is very, very different to anything that I've read. So I'm excited to give it a go. Speaking of being excited to read certain books, let's move on to the 7th book that I plan to read in the month of August. You guys, it is finally time to continue on with a series that defies logic for me, and yet I loved book 1 so much that I cannot wait to continue. And that book 2 is this book, which is called Murder Makes Sense by Kristen Brecker. This is book number 2 in the Nantucket Candlemaker mystery series. Look, book 1 to me didn't do enough candle making, and that did let me down, but somehow defying logic, book number 1 in this series, which is Murder's No Votive Confidence, blew my mind because I loved the mystery side. It is like 90% mystery, 10% cozy, but the mystery was so good that I knew I needed to read more Kristen Brecker, and I cannot wait to get on to book number 2. The 8th book that I plan to read in the month of August, as well as the 9th book that I plan to read in the month of August, are buddy reads that I'm getting involved in that aren't buddy reads that I've created. These are 2 books that were put up for the Middle Grade Appreciation Society Buddy Reads by Jessica from Lady Lovestead Reads. So every month Jessica wants to do a middle grade buddy read for her Middle Grade Appreciation Society, showing appreciation to middle grades, which I think is wonderful. I did not get time to get involved in the buddy read that she did last month, but I will be reading the buddy read they did last month this month, as well as the buddy read they're doing this month as well. So the first of the 2 that I'm going to be reading is the one for this month, which is this book called The Marvelers by, Donielle Clayton. I hope I'm saying that right. Yep. So this is a middle grade fantasy, and I'm incredibly intrigued. I don't even think at the time of filming that this book is yet available, so yeah, we're going to be cutting it a bit fine, but I'm incredibly excited to begin. The cover looks amazing. It has me so incredibly intrigued. Oh my gosh, if this is done well, I predict I'm really going to enjoy this one. So the second buddy read for the Middle Grade Appreciation Society buddy read that Jessica is doing was done last month, and I wasn't able to take part last month because I had too many books, so I'm going to catch up. And that book was this book, which is Starfish by Lisa Phipps. This is a middle grade contemporary book, and I'm incredibly excited. Don't want to say anything before I jump in, so we'll leave it at that. I'll give you all comments as we go throughout in the reading vlogs. Next up is the 10th book that I plan to read in the month of August, and this is a book that was recommended by my dear friend Nancy, who, whenever I was doing reading sprints, was updating me about her read of this book that she did last month. It was very interesting. According to Nancy, Audible, I think it was either Audible or Chirp, one of the two. I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I apologize, but someone was having a sale, and Nancy decided, what the heck? It's a good price, let's give it a go. And the more she was updating me, the more it was just intriguing me to want to pick it up, because she was getting more and more excited as she went along. So I cannot wait to give it a go. It is a thriller, and it is called The Family Holiday. And it is by Shalini Boland. So this is an adult thriller. And I love thrillers when they are done well. And from the reactions that Nancy was having to the book, it has me feeling like this one was done really well, and I cannot wait to give it a go. Books 11 and 12 are both books that come from the same series, and again, this is going to help me with my SAS list, and they are the next two books that I need to read in the Del Toro Quest series by Emily Rodda. The first book is this book, The Shifting Sands. This is book number 4. And the 12th book that I plan to read is this book, which is Dread Mountain, which is book number 5. There are 8 books in this series, so once I get through these 2 this month, I'll only have 3 left to read. Every book in this series are novellas. They're very, very, very quick, one-day, easy reads for me, and I have loved them all. I've given each book I've read so far 4 stars, so I'm excited to continue on my journey with this series. And now it is time to discuss the 13th book that I plan to read in the month of August. And I know y'all are watching this right now, and you're saying, excuse me, Mr. Francy, we don't want to bother you, we don't want to take up too much time, but are you sure you're not forgetting something? No, my friends, I'm definitely not forgetting what you know and I know that needs to be on my TBR for this month, but I want to save it to last, because there's a great saying out there, save the best to last. And when I used to read my Brandon Sanderson books one a month, I would save them to the last book I read, and I've elevated this series as my favorite series for the year so far, so it needs to be read last so that I can enjoy it at the end of the month. Alright, here it is. It is... Can you guess what it is? Let's see if you're right. It is Lemon Drop Dead by Amanda Flower. This is book number 6 in the Amish Candy Shop mystery series. Cozy mystery. I am so excited to get to this. Once I read this book, there will be one book left that is, I don't know if it's been released yet, but it's going to be released soon, which is book 7, Peanut Butter Panic. It's a new release, so reading this series will get me up to date, but by the time I read it, Peanut Butter Panic will have been released. So I'll read that next month, and then I'll be done or up to date with the series, and that's going to be a sad day. But I am so looking forward to getting on to Lemon Drop Dead. Amanda Flower, I can't wait, because you've taken me on such an amazing journey. It had to be saved for last. But that is it. Those are the 13 books that I plan to get through in the month of August. What books do you plan to get through in the month of August? Let me know in the comment section below. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it. Letting you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll see you again soon. Mwah! Please do be kind and love one another, and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading! Bye, everyone!